name is Max and welcome to another Tabletop Reviews, another Ticket to Ride review. This time we're starting off on the small boxes with New York. Right now I only own two of them, New York and Amsterdam, which is actually next. But I do hope over the weekend to get one more, San Francisco at Essen Spiel. I'm very excited, it's my first time ever going to a convention, so I'm very excited to go and experience it. But for now we need to look at Ticket to Ride New York. The first of the small box games. Well, actually it's the second one released. I believe London was first. But the first one I'm reviewing, let's see its setup first. Alright, and on the table it is, this small little box, and of course within it, these are the rules, small little pamphlet. Of course, you have a small central board to combat that. Bam! But the setup is very much the same as it is in regular Ticket to Ride. So in the cards you have, bam, you have your, in this point of, I guess, taxi or transportation cards, you know, not train cards, but you shuffle those up. Each player will receive two to start off with, and on the side you will flip over the top five. Yes, still the top five, even though it is a teeny tiny little game, it's still the top five. A rule I don't think I've mentioned in any other one is that if three of these ones are, this instant taxis, but in the other one it's locomotives, then you will have to redo it, start over. Anyways, then of course each player gets a color. Some lovely colors in this one with the purple here, and also this turquoise blue one. Also a very lovely color to have in here. Once again, there's only four, but there is room for a fifth, which I don't quite understand. Anyways, box up here. Then you of course have your route cards here. Shove them up and give each player two as well. And you will of course look at these ones and decide which ones you want to take. Honestly, I say just keep both of them because this is such a tiny map. And then the gameplay is very much the same as in regular Ticket to Ride. You can on your turn either draw a card, up to two cards from over here. If you take the taxi, it's only one you're allowed to take, unless you draw it from the top of the pile. You can take two cards from here, taxi only one, or draw two cards from here. If you draw a taxi, it's okay to draw more. Or you can use these ones. I actually think, no, it doesn't actually. It almost suited well for this one, but just as an example, you can play these two and place two, like here, for example, I think. Bang. And that's your turn. You can also decide to draw up. In this instance, it's just two more. And you can keep at least one of them to add to your collection of point-giving cards here. These ones are actually pretty decent in terms of what I wanted to do with this one. And that's what you can do in your turn. Once somebody only has two taxis left, or less, the game will end and you'll count up points. You will start off by counting up points. You'll get a neat little sheet here to count up points. First, the amount of taxis you've placed out. So pointing up on this one, so there's a route of 2 that will give you 2 points, and if you had this route, it's a route of 4, which will give you 7 points. Count all those up. Then you have your destination cards. You know, how many did you complete? Those are pluses, but if you didn't complete some, that's a minus. Just like in regular one. And then you have these areas right here. These are tourist attractions, sort to speak, I believe they call it. And of course you get 1 extra point if your cards, like this one, reaches 1. That would be 1 extra point. Count all the points up, the one with the most points win. That is the fastest I've ever done an over Euro, I think. Let's return to the table. And that's the setup of this game. I'm hoping to do this a quick review because it's a very small game, very compact, and basically it's all the same as in all the other Ticket to Rides. But let's start off with, of course, gameplay. And gameplay is the Ticket to Ride gameplay. And this is the inside into showcasing the Ticket to Ride theme. Doesn't matter that much. You still have this one with the routes, with the buses and the taxis, but the gameplay is still the gameplay, just in a smaller variation, and I actually really like that. Ticket to Ride is a pretty big game. It really takes up space. It takes up like a quarter of the space. but gives you the same amount of fun in 15 minutes. I've had it at school for the free time. What's the English word for it? I don't know. Frikwartier, that's the Danish word. Where we would play this a little bit and work in a break maybe. Don't often get to play and work, unfortunately. But it's a quick game in between games, which still gives you that Ticket to Ride feel, which I absolutely love. Which I absolutely love, drawing the cards and everything. But in a smaller scale, you only draw 2 cards this time to add to your routes, because otherwise you get congested, you can get a lot of points. This game tends to be a lot tighter because of the smaller map and at the larger play count, you can quickly get a lot of points, all of you. So it tends to be a lot tighter than regular Ticket to Ride, I find. But it's still Ticket to Ride feel. Set on over to components. The components are the Ticket to Ride components. You have the small little freaking taxis this time, looking very nicely, just like the trains, looking very nicely, feeling very nicely. You don't have the bricks to move around this time, but the small little map makes sense. You get the feel of it. It's a large city, you can adjust it into the small map, but it still looks really nice. And of course you have the artwork on the cards, which is very nice. Different transportation options on the cards. Of course, small cards. I really do hate it, small cards. I will have to live with it. There's nothing I can do. But the components are to the level of Ticket to Ride that I expect even in this small little box. Now I come to theme. That's the theme match. Well, it does add the gameplay mode of the attractions, the places to visit. They give you an extra point, which makes a lot of sense. In New York, you want to visit these places. You don't want to just drive around, you want to visit these places. So it makes a lot of sense that it's there. That's very thematic, I think. But as I said, this is a showcased Ticket to Ride's theme. Doesn't matter that much. And yet, feel a small disconnect. In the sense that it's not trains. And I don't think trains would work in this small box. But I don't think taxis would work in the larger boxes. But changing the size of the box, making it this small thing, and making the theme more of buses and taxis to get around, all of a sudden, the theme is still very thematic, and the cab is of course iconic to New York. So I think it still works thematically, and in the larger sense, it would make sense. It would more make sense with trains. So thematically, it still suits very well. I forgot to talk. No, I didn't mention artwork, didn't I? Very nice. Humans are looking very. But I did mention artwork, and of course, yes, theme. I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah. So yeah, does it lie to you? That's the big question on the box here. Oh, it's upside down. It says 2 to 4 players, 8 plus 10 to 15 minutes. I already stated this is a quick 15-minute game. That's no lie. I really think this is 15-20 minutes. Really right there. 8 and up. The age is always the one that I'm talking about, but I think 8 and up is actually very fair rating because there's not a lot going on, and in the end you just get extra points, but it's not something that you have a large control over. That extra point, because spending 2 to go here and get that point, is it really worth it to spend those 2? Who knows? So I think 8 and up makes sense, and of course 2 to 4 players. Well, that is what it provides you with in here. You could add a 5th if you wanted to, I think, but and yet it's a very small map, so maybe not actually. Yeah. I think 2 to 4 is the recommended. I would say this is a 2-player Ticket to Ride game. But 3 or 4, it probably works fine. I've not played it at 4 actually. I've only played it 3-player, which worked perfectly fine. But to me, this is a 2-player Ticket to Ride, so to speak. And the final rating. What will the final rating be? Well, I think it's a very small game. It takes all the good of that. Ticket to Ride makes it a lot faster. But I do still think that Ticket to Ride I want to have in a longer form. I'm going to put this one in at an 8 out of 10. Just because Ticket to Ride to me needs to be longer. If this had been a full-scale game, I would actually only given it an 8 out of 10 again, because it's just too close. Then it would be too close to regular Ticket to Ride. So an 8 out of 10 for this one, a small little nice box of Ticket to Ride. Am I keeping it? Of course I am. The plan is still for me to have all of the Ticket to Ride at some point. If I had to sell all of the board games, all of the Ticket to Rides. But it's a nice, very nice addition to the collection, and as I said, Spiel this weekend. I'm hoping to get a hold of San Francisco, another small box game, adding to the list of games I need to get reviewed. But very excited. Of course, next week it's another game. I can't remember which one. But after that, back to Ticket Ride. Maybe that is San Francisco and not Amsterdam, as I said. Who knows? All I know is thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.